Do you want to improve at a quicker pace? Check out the GITGUD course. Instead of just understanding concepts, you'll learn how to implement them directly into your driving. What makes it effective is the approach and practical drills. Together, we're gonna focus on breaking down those complex concepts into small digestible bits that are simple to understand. Everything from the course was tested and refined during the years in coaching sessions, so what I ended up with was the ones that I saw were the most effective. Let's elevate your racing skills together. Now for the track guide. Before starting, if you want to support this channel, giving it a like is a free way to do it, as this will get pushed to more sim racers like you with the YouTube algorithm. Now going into the track guide itself, turn 1 is gonna be flat. You just want to be very close to this curb on the inside. Now we're gonna reposition for turn 2 to this part of the curb on the left side. The breaking point for turn 2 will be the moment that you see the curb on the inside a bit more closer. So for me right now, as you can see, I'm driving towards this curve on the right side, and whenever I'm a bit closer to it, or you can also use this curving right here, you see that it's almost the ending of the curve of the left side, but I'm really looking at the apex in front of me. So whenever I'm seeing this curve a bit more clearly, whenever I can see the white part towards the end of the curve, now I'm applying the brakes. And you can make this distinction a bit easier because, for example, at this point in time you don't see that part of the curve, it's too far away, but whenever you're getting closer to it, at this point you can see it more clearly. What I want to do here, I want to brake almost in the straight line towards the next exit part on the left side. So you have to imagine that you're just gonna go in a straight line. If you will brake and turn at the same time, you will have less grip. So to play this sequence for you, I'm going straight all the way to this part, and then I'm trail braking and I'm getting the turn 3. But to make this happen, you really have to go into this corner like this with the steering wheel straight. So what I want you to focus on, whenever you're braking, you want to get very close to the inside curb, keep the steering wheel straight. If you notice right now, I'm braking with the steering wheel like this. If you have a bit of steering angle while you brake, you will have less grip. So basically the grip levels are going to be split between your braking and you turning the car. But if you do both at the same time, you will have less grip, hence you won't be able to extract as much as you can from the car. Now I'm braking in a straight line, and notice that I'm still keeping the steering wheel straight, and just right now I'm starting to turn. The car will be sketchy, so I'm turning left and right because the car really wants to snap. What's important though is to arrive on this curb for turn 3. So from this point onwards, I'm downshifting to first gear and I'm turning. And super important to downshift to first gear a bit later. So if you look at the rhythm of the downshift, now I'm in third, I'm downshifting to second here, keeping it second, still in second gear, still in second. Now I'm going to first whenever I'm braking again, because there's like 2 stages of braking. The first stage of braking is whenever you're getting turn 2, but when you're arriving at this point in time, just a bit earlier than this, you really want to release the brakes so you can carry the speed. You really have to carry a lot of speed while going uphill and into this section. So at this point in time, I'm releasing the brakes. Maybe you want to keep 1%, 2% trail braking, and then whenever you're gonna brake again, like right now, then you're gonna downshift to first gear. A common mistake here will be you to brake very early and very hard in this corner in turn 2, so that at this point in time you will be on throttle. If you find yourself being on the throttle between turn 2 and turn 3, you're braking way too hard or you're braking way too early for turn 2, because at this point in time you should still be on brake, and then brake your final brake before the next corner. Trail braking in first gear, super important to cut it like this. So cut this curb, don't be afraid to go a bit over it, but don't go all the way to the red sausage curve, because then the car will bounce and you will lose some traction and you will have to go off the throttle. Using this exit is going to be key. So this is a picture that you want to look at it, and you want every time to arrive with the car all the way on the left side, using all the way of the green. Now putting the throttle down, and for the next corner I'm bringing the car to the center of the track, and from the center of the track I'm turning, and I really want to cut this grass around here. There's a bit of grass with the dirt on it, you can cut it like this. It will shorten the distance, but also you won't get an off track by doing so. So it's super easy to do it. On the exit, you'll be all the way here on the green. Now for this corner, this is flat, but you can easily lose 1/10 or half a tenth if you turn too aggressively into the corner. You want to turn a bit later and you want to barely touch the steering wheel when turning. So I want you to focus into this section, into this high-speed corner, flat-out corner, to find the minimum amount of steering angle to turn. Because imagine that the maximum amount of speed that you will have with the car is with the steering wheel straight, 100% throttle. Whenever you're turning even a slightly bit, the friction forces of the tires will make that you will scrap some speed. So you really want to keep the steering wheel as straight as you can. Obviously you have to turn, but doing it very, very gently and then unwinding the steering wheel. If you arrive all the way to the right side, it's fine. I don't want you to force the steering wheel to the left immediately. Just let the car slowly roll to the left side with a minimum amount of steering angle up until the next corner. So this is how you're gonna extract as much as you can from that high-speed corner. Now this corner right here, braking point is before the curb. So at this point in time, I'm applying the brakes. So if you look at the curb, you just want to brake a bit before it. Super important here to use this curb whenever you're going more into the corner. So we try to open up the right hander by using a bit this curb on the left side, but don't use it in the beginning, use it more when you turn the car. Don't go to 100% braking. I think you should stay around 90%. This was a bit of a mistake from my part because you will go into ABS and ABS will make the turning point a bit sluggish. So avoid 100% braking. This was not ideal. This was a mistake. Now going into this corner right here, you want to go a bit more closer than I was here to this curb. So because I braked to 100%, I overheated the tires, the ABS was engaged, and whenever I turned the car was not turning as much as I want to. So it's super important here to not brake to 100%, that's the first thing. And the second thing, to get a bit closer to this curb. You don't want to go and mount the red sausage curb, but just going a bit closer here and putting the throttle immediately will give you a lot of lap time also using that track there. Now for this corner, I suggest you using this curb at turn-in. So push the car all the way to the right side around here, because then whenever you're gonna turn into this corner, this is gonna be flat. You want to get a bit of the grass. So your car will be more in the center left part of the track. If you find the car all the way to the right side because you didn't open up in the previous corner, you didn't use all the track, you didn't cut the grass there, then this next corner is gonna be, the last corner is gonna be very difficult. And this is probably one of the most important corners of the track, this one and the one after turn 3, because it's a long straight afterwards. So you really want to prepare it, and you're gonna prepare it by having the car in the center left part and immediately bringing to the left. Now in terms of braking point, I like to brake at the end of this white curb on the left side. So right now when the white ends and the red starts, I'm applying the brakes. I'm braking initially in a straight line. Don't go to 100%, I'm going to 95, something like that. In first gear, super important to touch this curb here. And the best tip that I can give you into this corner is to go on throttle earlier than you think. So because this is an uphill braking corner and you're going uphill whenever you're exiting, if you're not gonna be early on throttle or give it a blimp of throttle a bit earlier, then you will lose a bit of momentum. So what I'm doing here, I'm braking up until this point. At this point in time, I'm already on throttle. This is super important. So you don't want to be on throttle here to touch it first here on the exit. This is gonna be way too late. Notice in my shape. So I braked hard, trail brake, and then immediately stayed a bit modulating in the beginning, but then giving it all the way. The car is gonna be a bit sketchy, but you have to counter steer to get it. Using all the track here, all this green, and in short, that's a track guide for MX5s this week. If you want to accelerate the progress, if you want to develop your skills more, check out my course, it's in the video description. Until next time, bye bye.